it's the Phasian here, bringing you another episode of Know Your Ruling. And today I'm going to be doing an episode on these three cards, which are all similar in effects, but also different at the same time. And they are Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, and Thunder King Rio. So, to start things off, we'll start off with Solemn Warning, because it's one of the easier effects to understand. Alright, the effect reads, when a monster would be summoned or when a spell, trap, or effect monster is activated that includes an effect that special summons a monster or monsters, pay 2,000 life points and negate the summon or activation and destroy that card. So basically, this is a very simple card, being that it can negate normal summons, special summons, tribute summons, flip summons, and like XYZ summons, synchro summons, which are also special summons. And the good thing about this, it negates the effect of a card that has the activation of special summoning a monster. Which means that when I attack your Mystic Tomato and destroy it as a result of battle, you could special summon a 1500 or lower attack monster that's dark. Well, when you activate that effect, I can activate Solemn Warning and negate that effect since it's spell speed 3. I can activate it during the damage step to negate your effect's activation, which is good because the other two cards do not, and I'll get through that in a second. Overall, this is a pretty decent card. Just paying 2,000 life points can be costly, especially during this day's meta. And a lot of decks are dropping it, but it's still a very powerful card, and I would suggest playing it at 2. But it's good because this card can negate all sorts of effects. And one of the cool things about this, not a lot of people know, is this can negate cards that you don't think of, like Macrocosmos. Because Macrocosmos can special summon, this card can negate Macrocosmos. I don't know if you would play it against it, but it's just a fun fact that it can and is able to. But overall, this is a pretty decent card, and I'll get into the next card. That's also its brother, Solemn Judgment. Now, Solemn Judgment is probably one of the most godly of all negation cards, because it can pretty much negate almost anything. But this card reads, pay half your life points, negate the activation of a spell, trap, normal monster, flip summon, special summon, and destroy the spell card, the trap card, or the summoned monster. So this card is almost the same as Solemn Judgment in the way it can negate the summons. However, it has a couple extra added effects where it can negate spell cards and trap cards. So this card can negate Monster Reborn. It can, well, negate anything really, like Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, also Call Haunted, Torrential Tribute, any spell or trap per se. However, this card can only negate certain summons, like regular normal summons, flip summons, and certain special summons. The reason that this card is not as good on negating the summons as Solemn Warning is because this card can only negate monster cards that do not that special summon themselves without starting a chain. This is also known as inherit summoning. So some cards that inherit summon, which is a type of special summon, is Cyber Dragon, Blackluster Soldier, Chaos Sorcerer, Dark World Grapha, but this cannot negate effects that special summon, like Mystic Tomato, because it does not read it in its card text, and due to the game mechanics, it would miss its timing to negate the activation, which resolves in the battle damage. So overall, this is a pretty decent card. It still can negate like Polymerization, Miracle Fusion. Good card, just has its overall uses. But again, like Solemn Warning, you're also seeing a lot of people dropping this card from their deck because of such a hefty life point pay. And, I mean, it's half your life points. But still, overall good card. I would use it in most decks. Just depends on which deck you're playing. Now, the final card is Thunder King Rio. Now, this card is different from both of them because this is a monster card and not a trap card. But this card reads, neither player can add cards from their deck to their hands except by drawing them. You can send this face-up card to the graveyard to negate the activation, negate the special summon of one of your opponent's monsters and destroy it. So overall, it's a pretty decent card. 1900 beater, light monster, does a lot of things for plant decks. But I'll start off with its first effect, where you can't add cards from your deck to your hand. So that means this automatically stops your opponent from playing like Reinforcement of the Army, Xian Smoke Signal, and also Pot of Duality. A lot of people on Dueling Network, which is not a great place to duel, but it's still good practice grounds, do not understand that this card stops Pot of Duality. And I hate arguing back and forth against these idiots that just say you can't, they can activate Pot of Duality. But it also has the downside where it stops your own searchers as well, like Sangan and stuff, but that's the price you have to pay for the card. Now I'm going to get into the negating part of special summons. This card acts like Solemn Judgment as well, because it, like Solemn Judgment, it can only negate inherit summons. So, again, it can negate Cyber Dragon, Black Luster Soldier, Chaos Sorcerer, Grapha, but it cannot negate effect summons, like Monster Reborn, Polymerization, Call of Haunted, because they activate an effect. And the only reason it's different that Solemn Judgment can is because this can negate spells and trap cards. So the final thing is, since this can only negate inherit summons, this cannot negate Gores along with Solemn Judgment. Solemn Judgment can't negate Gores because these cards cannot negate special summons, again, which occur during the resolution of an effect which activates when battle damage is inflicted. Hence the effect of Gores, which special summons when its effect is activated. So this would automatically miss its timing and have no valid area to activate its effect, because this can only negate inherit summons and cannot negate effect summons. So I hope that this episode of Know Your Ruling was some sort of usefulness, and again, it was on Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, and Thunder King Raioh. And if you guys have any questions for me, you can always leave comments below or PM me. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And like I always say, I appreciate for the subscribers and all the people who subscribe to me. So, but thanks again for watching, and I will bring you another episode of Know Your Ruling in probably another week or so. Thanks, guys.